Hey everyone, welcome back. Basics on mode, median, mean, range, and all the statistics that we need to use often in things that you'll often see used on television. Do most people talk about what is the mode and what's the range in life? Well, there is a lot of people who do, but there's a lot of people that don't. Here we go, the basics. The mode is the thing that turns up the most often, the number that turns up the most often. So if I quickly look across these numbers here, I could look at it and I could just say the mode is 4, because there's more 4s than there's anything else. So the mode is 4. If I added another number on there, and I put a 5 there, then I'd have 2 modes. And then if I looked at the scores, the mode would be 4 and 5. So I'd have 2 modes. Could technically get 3 modes, but it becomes a bit silly at that stage. Let's go back to the first one and do the next couple of things. So the mode turns up the most often. There's more 4s. Sometimes I talk about there's more. Interesting part about the words. The words mode, most, and more. They all got 4 letters. They all start with M-O. And it's pretty easy to remember, but I know people do keep forgetting. Now, the largest minus the smallest. So 5 is the largest or the biggest. And this 5 is, and the 1 is the smallest. So how do I get the largest minus the smallest? It's the 5 subtract the 1. By the way, if I change the order of the numbers around, it's still going to be the largest minus the smallest. So in this case, it's a 5 take the 1. And remember, 5 take 1 is not the answer. The answer is actually the 4. So watch out for the trap. It's very easy. I've seen it many times. Students leave it written as 5 take 1 and they don't get the other. Now, median is the middle. Now, I always like to talk about if I had 4 fingers and I hold my 4 fingers up, there's 2 middles. You can see there's one that side, there's one side, and there's 2 scores in the middle. And my favourite, and I'm going to do it again, is if I had 5 fingers, there's the middle. The thing is, in Australia though, if I take out those 2 fingers and I take out those 2 fingers, people will say it's the rude finger. If I turned around there, would it matter? So if I took out those 2 and those 2. But if I do it this way, I take out those 2, I take out those 2, there's one middle. So if there's an odd number of scores, so there's an odd number there, there's one middle. If there's an even number of scores, there are 2 middles. So let's have a look at this one here. So there's the outside, there's the next one, there's the next one, and there's the middle. And I often write, there it is. Especially in recent years, I go, there it is. And sometimes some of my students sing the song. So the thing, that's the number, the score, shouldn't say the thing. The score that's in the middle of all these is 4. So on this one, I would say that the median is 4. We've got a median of 4. If I had, now I'm going to go to this now, if I change it slightly, I get rid of this other information, and I put in another score, say I had a 6. Now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got 8 scores, so I'm back to the situation where I've got 2 middles. Now I don't want you to think too hard about it at this stage. If I had you here and I was talking to you, I'd just go, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and there's the 2 middles. So if you had a middle of 4 and 4, by the way, it's not 8. Halfway, you talk about halfway between 4 and 4. So halfway between 4 and 4 is 4. So it's not 4.5 or any of the other things I've seen people do. If they're the same, 4 and 4, the median will be 4. So if I change the number slightly again, and I turn that into a 5, now I've got 2 middles and now all the numbers change. Let's have a look at it here. Some people like to tick them off or cross them off. So I can go tick 1 off, tick 1 off, tick 2 off, tick 2, tick 3, tick 3. And now I've got 2 middles. Some people struggle with what's the middle of 4 and 5. It's really about what's halfway between 4 and 5. There is a shortcut if it works for your brain, or a fail-proof system if the numbers are yucky. If you've got a 4, you can go a 4 plus if it's a 5, and then you can divide it by 2. And if you can cope with it, and they were horrible numbers like 14 and 25, you can add them up and you get 9. Be careful with your calculator, because if you press 4 plus 5 divided by 2, the calculator will think that you meant to go 5 divided by 2 first. So what's the trap? So you go 4 plus 5, I press equals, just like that is there, I just press equals to say add up the 4 and the 5, then I press divide by 2. Now the thing is, how are people with 9 divided by 2, and that's 4.5. So you could go 2, 4, 6, 8, and there's 1 left over. So you could go 2, 4, 6, 8, and we want 9. So there's 4 whole, and there's 1 left over. So that would be a median on that case of not 4 or 5, but of 4.5. Last bit, just want to talk about mean fairly briefly. I'm going to leave the numbers just the way they are. And mean, which a lot of people refer to as the average in real life, lots of people will talk about the average. You can talk about your average pay, your average scores you got, the average of anything, average the number of tables in a room, average lights, you can average absolutely anything. You can get the average price for houses sold in the area recently, and you get, and that's called the mean. In real terms, in statistics, it's called the mean. Commonly, we just call it the average. And what you do for a mean, you add all the scores up, a 1 plus a 2 plus a 4, get this pen out the way, plus another 4, plus a 5, plus another 5, plus another 5, plus a 6. So you add up all the 8 scores, and you divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now if you're doing it out on your calculator, just remember when you get to the end, you have to press equals, otherwise the calculator will misunderstand what you wanted. So you add all those up, and then you press divide by 8. Now, your calculators will be able to set on fractions or decimals. So some of you will get fraction answers, and some of you will get decimal answers. But I'll do it fairly quickly. I see that as 10. 4 and 4 and 2 is 10. That makes another 10. That's 20. That's 21. That's 26, and that's 32. So we've got 32 and 8, and you can go, how many 8s go into 32? And that's nice, because 8 goes into 32 4 times. And hopefully I made no mistake, so I usually double check. There's 10, there's 20, there's 31, and there's 32. So 8 and 32 goes 4. So the mean is, add them all up, make sure you don't forget to press equals and then divide by what scores there are. For a lot of people, you'll have a calculator. You just do it on your calculator, otherwise you have to do it the long way. Depends on your teacher and the test that you're in. Oh, I hope that helps.